Okay, we're back.
Cool.
All
All
right,
right.
guys, we are back. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The stream cut down for a while, but we have returned. But you were talking about
Yeah, I was talking about trying to be in a relationship with a chick who already has
a
a
boyfriend, but
boyfriend,
also works in the same office as you.
but also works in the same office, right?
Right.
So I want to tackle those two things separately because I think they are two separate issues. I think the boyfriend thing is probably the harder one to navigate because if you have feelings for a chick, that's something that can be hard to overcome, despite the fact that you know that she's kind of forbidden. You can't really do anything with her. That's just not really going to work for you. What I would say is you shouldn't be treating her individually as like a romantic object. Like you shouldn't be treating her as just someone that like the only person that's going to make you happy. I think what you need to do is start considering her as a friend, and if it's an option that ends up coming to fruition, like if you guys start hanging out more closely and it becomes an option, I would not really take the next step until she's out of the relationship. Mostly because the thing that makes me uncomfortable with it is that I don't like stepping on people's toes, and I also feel like it's disrespectful to her and the guy that she's with. I think it's disrespectful to her because if you really care about this chick, then you would also care about the promises that she's made, and you also kind of care about making sure that she's um, kind of keeping up with those. I don't know, like like. I feel like her word should mean something to you if she means something to you. I
But at
don't
the
know.
same time, like, can't she? If she's with this guy for a while, longest relationship she's ever had, but then she meets this other person and she really likes him and he really likes her, like, shouldn't she also be allowed to change her mind and change the person she's dating?
Yeah, absolutely. She should definitely be allowed to do that. But a lot of that has to, a lot of whether or not that's okay is dependent upon the relationship that she has with that other person. I think if there is like this expectation that you're not really going to be dating around while you're in a relationship, like this is like a committed relationship, then dating another guy can be a really really messy territory. It could not only be messy territory to get into, but it can also just be going back on the word that you gave somebody. Like if you're having those questions about a person, then you should probably break up with that person. And this is more to the girl than it is to the guy who
Right.
is the other guy. You know.
But for the guy, the question asker, I would say that, you should there's no harm in trying, but when she's like, "No, I'm with this other person, I can't be with you," then you have to back off forever. Like,
See, yeah, I think
because
that's
she
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, because I think that it could be the thing where she likes you, you like her, but she's with this other relationship, and it's the longest she's ever had. Which we don't. I mean, that could be a year for all we know, or it could be 6 months, or it could be 3 years. But if she really likes you, and you really like her, and you try it, and she's like, you know what, I actually want to give up on this other thing because I think you're going to be better for me. Like the worst that you're going to do is find yourself still not able to date her. I mean, a little heartbroken, but
I think
you
the,
know,
the scary part is when she says, "All right, this is something that I want to do," and she hasn't broken up with the other guy yet. That's the part that makes me
that's when
uncomfortable.
that's the issue.
So
Like,
do you press it to the next? Do you let her continue forward with you? And that's the
no,
part
no, no,
that I
no.
would get scary,
Yeah, no,
or that
because
I would get scared of.
if you put it to her like, "Hey, I really like you. Can we date?" and she's like, "Sure," and I would say maybe like a date, maybe 2 dates you could go for, but definitely no, like, don't cross any physical boundaries. And then once you're like, "Yeah, this is what I want to continue, but I can't, like, I don't want to do this behind someone's back. I'm not willing to do that. If you want to be with me, you have to be with me. You can't, be with him," sort of thing.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, like, if she's okay dating you behind his back, then when she's with you, she will be probably okay dating someone else behind your back. Like, eh, you also don't want to just be in sketchy situations. Like, do you want to be the person who's like, cheating, or a girl's cheating with? Do you want to be that guy? Like, you don't want to be that guy. No one
Yeah, I don't
likes
think
that guy.
so either.
But I still think you should be able to approach her and be like, "I really like you. I know you're taken, but here's my pitch. You're the best. You make me
Right.
happy. You make me smile and come to work in the morning."
I think that's well. First, you're a fucking romantic. You make me smile. You make me come to work in the morning.
Yeah,
That's really funny. But
use
I
it.
think I've always tried to err on the side of caution. I think that's really interesting because I feel like I would not be comfortable telling a chick who had a boyfriend, "Hey, I'm really into you." But
That's fucking scary as shit.
like it's yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's scary as shit.
Here's what I would say. I would say if you actually think there's chemistry between you two and you think it's something that's going on, I'm going to defer to Neil on this one. I think it's reasonable to not cross any physical boundaries, but experiment with the idea of becoming closer. I think that's okay. Um, Now the work thing, we've answered this question probably a few different times and in a few different ways. My tendency is to say I don't shit where I eat. I am not going to get involved in a workplace relationship because it can be really problematic. It has the potential to be problematic. What Neil tends to say is if you forge a relationship that's going to last you a really long time, the chance at that can be more valuable than a job that is temporary, possibly. It's probably temporary.
Yeah. Yep, that's
So
exactly what I was going to say.
so that's up to you. And I don't know if there's much more that we could do with that topic that we haven't done before.
Yeah, I mean, if your relationship with this girl is more important to you than your job, go for it. If your job is more important than your relationship with this girl, do not go for it. And you just have to weigh it like that. Like you have to figure out how you prioritize your life. And she's here, whereas work compared to her, work is about even. Well, then you're kind of make a decision one way or the other, buddy. But the point is, I think the short answer is if she is with another guy and works in the same company as you, building as you, whatever, you probably don't want to go after that. However, if you love her, if you find yourself head over heels for her, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Don't get your heart broken, dude.
I think there has to be like a lot of promise from her end for me to feel comfortable telling you that you should go for it. Like I feel like there needs to be promise, like not only in that like you feel like you would be really into her, but there needs to be a lot of promise that she would be like really into you. Right now, it just sounds this really like surface level flirty thing. I don't think it sounds like much more than that, and I would keep that in mind. If you're falling in love over just some flirty stuff here and there, I think you need to do what I'm trying to do in my life and like take a step back from that and realize, you know what, like flirty stuff is literally just that. It's fun, and you kind of have to treat it that way. You can flirt with as many people as possible. Don't get really, really hung up on some chick that's willing to flirt with you because you are uncomfortable talking to girls usually, and this chick is like killing it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. If she's the one for you, dude, go after her, and be bold. If she's not, if you just, I know you said you really liked her, but if you don't see yourself marrying this girl and you don't see yourself quitting your job for this girl, then you're gonna kill yourself over her for a while. So I would say, do your best to cut things off with her and pursue something else.
I would probably assert dominance and just beat the shit out of her boyfriend, Like that's what I would
That
do.
works too.
I would just be like, what up,
alpha.
son?
Spend a couple months in jail and then come back out and she's like, oh my god, Unctious, I want you so badly.
That's what she'll say to you, question asker. Oh my
yeah.
god, Unctious.
Also, you'll already have left you won't have your job anymore, so that problem will be solved too. Go beat up her boyfriend. That is our official advice.
That's the final word.
Done. God, solves so many problems.
How are we so good at this?
I don't know. Okay. Okay, well, hold on. Here is a follow-up email from the same guy from a few days later.
New information. New shit has come to light, man.
Uh-oh. Dear LoveBytes, I sent an email earlier in the week, Monday, I believe. I thought I'd send this as more of an update of things that happened since then. Again, I'm sorry if this gets long, but I want to make sure you have all the info you need to give informed advice. So Tuesday, nothing really happened. We talked some, but nothing really special. Our conversations are always playful, but I've been trying to hold back and not push anything. By Wednesday, yesterday, I decided I would just try and keep my distance, see if things would pass. However, when I went to the kitchen to get more coffee, she was the only other person in there. She was getting water from the cooler, which faces away from the door. I came in. She looked up, smiled, nothing out of the ordinary. So I said, morning. They both
nailed it. Fucking nailed it.
They both responded. I guess she was not the only other person in there. They both responded morning, and she went back to filling up her water. At this point, I positioned myself with the other person directly between us so there wouldn't be any direct line of sight. After she finished filling her glass, she turned to me and leaned around the other person to look at me and smiled. It wasn't like a step to the side, natural kind of thing. I don't really know how to describe it. It just seemed a lot of effort or something. I don't know. Words. Just thinking about it still gets me flustered. Anyways, this kind of threw me. Like 10 minutes later, another friend at work saw me and could tell I was flustered. She pulled me aside and asked what was going on. I told her that I'm really starting to like someone I shouldn't. She instantly knew who I was talking about. Apparently, I'm being more obvious about it than I thought. I talked with her some more randomly throughout the day. Still our usually playful chat. Last night, I ended up going out and having some drinks with the friend that called me. While talking, called me out on it, I guess. While talking about it, I found out that several of, okay, things are getting confusing, so I need to assign some names to the people I'm talking about. Girl I like is W, friend is K. W's friends think that her boyfriend isn't good enough for her. Granted, Kay heard this like second or third hand, so who knows what's with that. But Kay's idea, the short version, was for
No,
us to
none of this
have
shit. You're
some.
30 years old. You're 30 years old. You shouldn't be dealing with all this shit, dude. This is
But Kay's
nobody.
idea, the short version, was for us to have some sort of get together to see how things go. See if for sure something is see if for sure there is anything on W's part. Fast forward to today. W seems off, I guess the best way to put it. She's the kind of person that's always happy and cheery, and she doesn't seem that way today. I've managed to get a few smiles, but I actually had work to do work for them instead of just her smiling when she sees me. This could have absolutely nothing to do with me, obviously, and I don't know what this is, and I don't know if this is just towards me or if she's like this all around today. Anyway, thanks for your advice. All right, so W's friends think her boyfriend's no good for her. You're being
Fuck W's
obvious.
friends. Fuck W's friends. Don't. They are not involved. I hate that shit. I
Oh
hate
my
it.
God,
Neil, I
this-
hate it. Neil,
I hate it too, but it sounds like just do it, man. Do it. This is what you're gonna
I don't know.
do.
W
You're gonna-
sounds like kind of upset, Neil. Like I don't know
Do
if
it.
he's digging this.
buddy, go up to her. I don't. What's your approach here? You know, you meet her at the water cooler. She's filling up
Your
her glass.
approach
There's
is
no one
quick.
else in
Nope,
the
right
room.
out of there.
Or
There's
you
too much shit.
you'll have like a small conversation until the two of you are alone. Then you approach her. You put your hand on her shoulder and say, "W, you're the one for me." And then you try the kiss. All right, do it.
And make sure when you go for the kiss, you just look her right in the eyes and you don't smile. You just fucking straight face that shit. Just see what happens.
Okay, yeah.
It works every time. That's bad advice. Don't do that.
Don't do that. But
My
I
advice-
think you should go for it. Clearly, you're so caught up in this girl that when she smiled at you, like leaned around a person to give you a smile, it flustered you for 10 minutes. You are not going to get over her until you either get your heart broken or she accepts you.
Dude, you
And
just need to get laid. Fucking just
no, he doesn't need to get laid. He needs to.
get laid.
No, he's crazy for this girl, which is great. You
know.
should be crazy for people. However, this is a shitty situation because she's with someone else. So you know what? You're not going to get over her until you either firmly rejected or until you get her. So my solution is go get rejected or go get her. Like you're not going to get over it one way any other way. You're just not. Look how flustered. Look how much you like this girl. Do it, buddy.
I'm flustered for you. Jesus
it.
Christ.
Ask her out. Literally, you
I-
can say, "Hey W, do you want to get lunch?" And then you guys go get lunch, and you have a good time at lunch. And then at lunch, you're like, "Hey, well, I'm not." Or as you're walking back to the office, you're like, "Well, I'm not doing anything tonight. Do you want to go get dinner?" And she's like, yeah, I'll get dinner with you tonight." Then you have an actual real fucking date. And then at dinner, after dinner's over, you walk her home. And as you're walking her home, hopefully she doesn't live with her boyfriend. If she does, maybe skip this part out, do it in the cab or on the walk home. As you get to her door, try for the kiss. And if that doesn't work, if she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa," you're like, we just had dinner. I thought you liked me." And she's like, "No, I don't like you. I'm so sorry if I gave you that impression." Then you're like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize." And then you back away and you never talk to her again. Because that's the only way that you're going to get this solved, dude. You have to try it. Otherwise, you're going to be heartbroken about this girl forever. Fucking go get your heart broken. Do it. It's going to be good for you.
I don't know if I agree. I think it's the experience of getting your heart broken. It's totally something that you need to get done. You need to get over that. That's something you need to get
So what's he
used
supposed to do? Sit and pine for her for months?
No,
Years?
I'm saying that he should get over her because it sounds like she's like not
How do you
as
get
cool
over
as
her?
he's making her out to be.
How do you get over her?
You just have to change it in your head. You have to realize like maybe this chick isn't good for me. It sounds like her friends are all up in her business.
you know how
and she's
fucking hard
willing
that
to let
is?
them be all up in her business. And,
Do you
like,
know
that's
how
not
hard
totally
that
cool.
is to just get over someone, especially when you see them every
I-
day?
Don't you do that to me, Neil. I know how hard it is. I do know how hard
When you
it
see
is.
them every day?
Yeah, I get
Do you have
it.
a story to
It's-
tell us?
I don't have any stories for you, Neil. I just think that I get more uncomfortable.
Do you have firsthand
with-
experience with this?
Listen, man, I get attached, or I have in the past gotten attached and then been unable to let that shit go, despite the fact that like the situation was bad and like I knew that it wasn't really going to be a thing, and then like I have a history.
Yeah,
of
so how
girls
long
being
were you
on
attached to
and
this
being
girl?
letting myself get let
How
on.
long?
Like,
How long were you head over heels for this person?
dude, it doesn't. Like,
No,
there's
it makes my point. How long were you head over heels for this
a
person?
long time.
How long is a
Longer than I
long
should-
time?
I mean, months, and you know, it's
Like
just,
2 months or like 6 months or 8 months?
it depends on the girl. Which one were we talking
Which-
about?
the
Like,
worst
this
one.
is something that I
The
have
worst
experienced
one.
with a few times.
The one that you've been the most attracted to.
Okay.
Like 8 months, right?
So
8
there's
months a
this
year.
chick. Well, there's a chick that I was really into in high school. She ended up getting a boyfriend when I was in high school. One of my friends is a really good guy. Like, we didn't really talk very much. We weren't very close. We were like best friends in high school. She was actually my first kiss as well, so that was like really important to me. Um, my first real kiss, my first like technical kiss totally blew. That was like the worst experience of my life. So I consider this other chick, who I'm going to call A. um, yeah, that was really important to me, and I got back in touch with her when I made it to college. We ended up going to the same college after high school, and like we had both had like long-term relationships in between, but I'd always had that little thing in the back of my head that was like, I wish things had worked out with that girl. Like she was really cool, and then I would see her on a day-to-day in college, and it was something that like I had always thought could have been a thing, and then it was just I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
It
yeah. But
just sucked. I
how long
totally
did
get
you
it.
pine for her?
Well,
A long fucking time, right? And it
yeah,
was
a really
awful.
long fucking
Don't you
time.
kind of wish that like she'd come up to you and be like, "This is never gonna work," and like pushed you away? Like, wouldn't that have made your those years much better, much easier? You could
I
have
don't
like,
know. I don't know if it would have. I don't know if I would have gotten over it very easily, even after she rejected me.
I'm just
I don't
saying,
know.
buddy.
I
I
would be more scared of the situation with her friends and the fact that they kind of sound like high schoolers, like and middle schoolers, like, oh, we don't think you should just do it because we don't think she's good or he's good for her, and you'd be so much better, and oh my god, all this shit. Like that's none of their business. It's none of their fucking business. And that
yeah.
the fact that they're getting involved and that she might be letting them get involved in her life makes me uncomfortable. I would never try to interact with that. That sort of expectation and all that shit going on is I have zero tolerance for it.
I still say ask her out to lunch, ask her out to dinner, try and kiss her on the way home. If you don't get the dinner invite, be like, oh, and like try go for an explanation. If she's like, I'm sorry, I have a boyfriend that's just crossing a line for me, then you have your answer. Boom. If she's like, I have plans today, then you try and reschedule on the spot. Be like, oh, well, what about tomorrow night or Wednesday night or whatever? And if she's like, no, 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 then you go well, is there a time that will work for you? And she says, I'll get back to you. Then she's blowing you off, and you ignore her. Or that's her signal to you to be like, no, 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 I don't want this. But go for it, try it, and you're gonna get yourself broken up, and it's gonna hurt, and you're gonna be a better person for it. And that's my solution. Heartbreak is good for you.
I don't think you've ever gotten me flustered on this show before, Neil. Well done.
Nina says heartbreak is good for you. Look at that face. She wants you to be heartbroken.
She looks a little bit pissed at you.
Yeah, she's pretty pissed. All right. All right. Sorry to get you flustered. Next time we'll talk about B. And then C, and then D, and okay.
Neil.
Next
All right.
question. Dear Neil and guest, I think of all people, you should be able to answer my question from being incredibly pro-Terran. Oh God. Oh God. All right. Unctious used to be a StarCraft. Used to be, still is a StarCraft caster.
I haven't been casting in a long time, so used to be.
Used to be a pro caster, so he should be able to help you with this.
I don't know about pro.
Did you make any money off of it?
Yeah,
There you go, professional caster.
professional caster.
So, my girlfriend has some fetishes that some people would consider weird. The one in particular is just the thought of alien sex, usually involving laying eggs or tentacles.
I
I did not see this question coming today, guys. Holy crap. At the same time,
have you
she
tried Bad
wants to.
Dragon?
What?
Have you tried Bad Dragon?
At the same time, she wants to entice my interests in the bed, as role playing as a monster you would expect to see from a censored Japanese anime doesn't do much for me. But this isn't the only problem. As we not only roleplay like this, we also comply to the other fetishes that we share. Oh, and she is amazing in bed no matter what the situation is. I'm dumbfounded by her ability to make anything sexy. Awesome. That's great.
Sounds like you're killing it.
Yeah, my problem is that she's trying to appeal to my interest of StarCraft while we do Bug Night,
Yeah, she
as we
is.
like to call it. This morning she asked me to play Zerg for this week's Bug Night, but I'm struggling to break it to her that I will always play Terran, and that is a blood pact I can never break. I already
Here's what
told her that I'll play Zerg for her because when she asked me, I felt like I had to give her a fast answer. So ultimately, my question is this: how do I use my loyalty to Terran as a way to make this week's Bug Night funnier? I've thought about getting my shotgun standing post in front of my girlfriend's ass as we start the night in doggy style and role playing as Terran on the lookout for any Zerg scum. I'm worried that wouldn't be funny, and I'm also looking for suggestions. Do you have any PS you would be comfortable with my use of a shotgun? or any other weapons of sort. I'm not going to go into details why, but she knows that I wouldn't ever have any shells in it, nor would I hurt her with it without giving me the go ahead. Sincerely, anonymous viewer. Dude,
Perfect. I got
fucking infested Zerg, be
dude.
infested Kerrigan, or infested what's his name? The fucking UED guy.
I'll tell you what
Stukov,
the
infested Stukov. That's who you are. You start out as the Terran guy, and you like play infested Stukov, and or you could be Duran, who's like human, also Zerg, also maybe Zelnaga something. Who the fuck knows? You play the infested humans. Boom. There's your love of Terran.
I was going to say if your Terran micro is going to be able to carry over into the Zerg realm, just make sure that you're using all 10 fingers, you're getting all up in that micro action, and then once you actually get used to playing Zerg, you can get those injects right when you want to. Those larva injects are key. You start hitting those on a rhythm. You get into the rhythm of it, you're going to fucking nail it, man. I'd say you don't need to be nearly as scared as you're making it out to be. It sounds like a pretty solid situation.
Yeah,
If you were going from Zerg to Terran, it could be tougher, man. I don't know if I'd fuck with that.
yeah, but the Terran to Zerg, yeah, you're fine. You're good, dude. You can do it. I believe in you. All right, next question. Hello, Neil. I want to ask you a question about how to let girls know you might be interested without straight out saying it. I have no problem with saying it. Just want to let her know. I'm the same person from last week. If you can remember the question of confidence, if you could help me, I would greatly appreciate it. I think we had a question about how do you gain confidence as a person in order to ask a girl. So how do you ask out or let a girl know that you're interested without telling her that you're interested? Unctious, do it.
I mean, are you friends with this chick already? Like, like, where do we sit on like the knowledge scale together? Like, does she know that you exist? Because that would be a good place to start. You go up to somebody and you say words because that's how they know that you exist.
Well, let's assume that they know each other on some level.
All right. Okay. How about this? Let's say that they don't. First thing you do is introduce yourself. Say, "Hey, my name is Unctious." Except don't say that. Say your name. And and start a casual conversation. This is almost like the conversation that we talked about, like the bus thing, right? Like start a casual conversation. It's super regular. Like she doesn't know that much about you. Now, all right, let's go at this from the other way, which is let's say you know each other already. You're familiar with each other's existences, but you're not really friends. Let's say you're just acquaintances. It's a very similar process. You make casual conversation. See if you guys can even hold a conversation together on any sort of level. That's super important. And then see if she's actually as cool as you're making her out to be. She might not actually be that interesting to have a conversation with. Go ahead and give her a try to actually impress you in any way. Next, let's say that you're actually friends and you want to get out of the friend zone and into like a situation, not even a friend zone. Let's say that you are friends and you want to let her know that you want to be more than friends. In that case, it becomes a little bit more of an interesting situation.
Yeah, I got the solution for this one.
Go. Boom.
Give her a hug that lasts 1 second too long. Because, if you're friends with her, and you're like, all right, see you later, you go for the hug, you hold just 1 second too long. It's really fucking obvious when someone holds a hug too long. It's really, really obvious. So if you hold it a second too long, she's going to pick up on that, and she's going to know that you're interested in her.
I think that could come off as like kind of weird.
Really?
I don't know. I think it could potentially.
Yeah, but if that's all you do and then you don't never do it again and you act like the normal person the rest of the time, it's fine. Like that's what body language is all about, right?
I would try to be more forward with it. Like I would just try to see if there's a conversation. Just be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go grab dinner. Do you want to come?" And have it just be like a casual sort of one-on-one thing where you're gonna have an opportunity to actually interact with each other on a one-on-one level, because that's one of the biggest parts of like being able to move towards more relationship territory.
But how does that let her know you're interested in her? Because I go grab dinner with my friends that are female that I'm not interested in.
Yeah, I think that's something that develops over time. Like, or you could literally just say, "Hey, I'd like to talk more to you." I don't know. Yeah, okay, do the hug thing. That works too.
Yeah.
Go for the fucking hug.
Any sort of like physical contact that's a little bit out of the ordinary but not fucking creepy. Like a hug that lasts 1 second too long. A hug that lasts 4 seconds too long is creepy as fuck.
Just don't let her go.
But 1 second it's kind of like, oh my god, he likes me?
If you see your hand starting to go into her pants, you're doing it wrong. Never try to go for that.
That's too risky of a move, man. Don't do that move.
It'll work once out of every maybe 50 times, and that once will be glorious, but it's not worth the 49.
And like 30 of those other times, you're probably gonna get like you're gonna lose friends or
It's,
have
yeah.
jail time over it or something. Yeah, just don't put your hands in girls' pants.
Somebody asked, "How about spanking her on the ass as you pass in the hall?" That's also probably on the creepier side of things.
That's on the sexual assault side of things. I do not recommend it unless you know that her friends do that to her. Her male friends do that to her. Um, I would say, a hug that lasts a little bit too long, or a hand on the shoulder when you didn't necessarily need a hand on the shoulder, but it would, it fits in the just small body language things.
Oh, you know what's interesting? I've seen like the advice like if you want to see if somebody's kind of interested in you, then when you're in a group and you tell a joke or somebody tells a joke, if they're really into you, then they'll like look at you to see if you're laughing when the group's laughing. They'll look at you to see if you think it's funny. Like I was thinking about that, and they're like, that doesn't seem like that big of a tell. Like if I'm interested in somebody and I do that, it's also a way of telling them that you're muted because
That's because we're guys, dude. Girls know when we like them instantly. We never know when they like us because we're complete idiots and morons. But they pick up on that stuff. It works. You and I, we'll never fucking figure it out. We'll be like, oh, she
yeah.
looked at me while we're laughing, whatever. But it's true. It's true.
Yeah, I would do that too. Like, just be like, take an extra glance at her here and there, not in like a stare her down sort of way, but in like a kind of flirty, like off, not like a side glance necessarily, but let her catch you looking at her. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like it sounds creepier than it needs to be.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. You're gonna be fine.
You're
You're gonna nail
fine.
it. You're gonna fucking wreck it,
All
man.
right.
You got
Next
this.
question. Hi. I'm a 15-year-old guy who's actually pretty good in social situations, except for my one fatal flaw. I can't start a conversation with a girl I'm attracted to. Dun dun dun.
I thought it was gonna be hubris or something. Like,
Nope. I can talk to them pretty easily, but whenever I want to start a conversation or ask them out, I start feeling pretty violently ill to the point of vomiting. Do you have any tips to suppress my intense feelings of nervousness?
Dramamine.
Short answer. Short answer is going. Don't take it too. Listen to the long answer before you hear the short answer. The short answer is sack up and be a man. The long answer is that's something that is really fucking difficult to do. And part of figuring out relationships is figuring out how to talk to people when you're nervous about talking to them. And there is no you might be able to find some like small tips and tricks to help you do it, but literally just one day you have to be like, fuck it, Leroy Jenkins, and just in your mind you're like, no, I'm just doing this. Hi, how's it going? And then once you've done that, then you're there and there's no turning back. Like you have to put yourself in the danger zone, and it's going to be hard. It's really you just have to do it though. You have to not listen to your inner voice. Just in your head shout Leroy Jenkins and go for it. Like
You know what the way that well, first it's awesome that you get nervous in that situation, especially because it means that like you actually kind of like this chick, right? Like you wouldn't get nervous if there wasn't anything on the line.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, Neil, I don't know if I told you this before. The way that I kind of got better at and less nervous at talking to girls this is when I was in high school, so probably around your age, 14, 15. If I thought a chick was pretty, even if I'd never talked to her, I'd just go up to her and be like, "Hey, I think you're really pretty," and like I wouldn't sit on it for very long. I would just say it, and then I'd go on my way.
How'd that work out for you?
It was never an expectation. It was just a means of getting myself to feel more comfortable talking to chicks.
Oh.
So like to break down that barrier and to have it just be a compliment, just leave it at that. Not even like going up and trying to continue a conversation. Just, hey, I think you're really pretty, and they'll be like, "Oh, thank you," and then you just keep fucking walking. Like, it was a nice way for me to realize that like chicks aren't out to get you. Some of them
you're
are.
out to get them.
I think it was a good way for me to start to feel more comfortable. But you're not really going to overcome that necessarily if you're like really, really into this girl. Like that's not going to help you overcome the fact that if you're emotionally invested in something, you're still going to get nervous because of that. And that's just a matter of being emotionally invested. And you have to realize this is your body's way of saying like, I have a reason to be afraid right now because I'm afraid of losing something or I'm afraid of making a fool of myself. And all of that stuff is stuff that you need to like kind of learn to put to the side. You need to realize that there's really not that much on the line. Like, why not just fucking go for it?
So, do you have any tips to suppress my intense feelings of nervousness? Just go for it. And it's the worst advice, but it's the best advice.
Just do it.
There's literally no tips that will help you. Like, maybe there's some trick that will work for you, but it's going to be a very personal thing. Just do it. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and
I
if you
wish I could
actually
help you
suffer
more.
from like a super serious anxious like anxiety disorder or something like that, then you should get help and you should see maybe a therapist or something. But this is not what this is. That's
No,
not
this
what
is
this is.
standardly standard,
I'm
everyday, normal
15.
guy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. And I'm 15, and even fucking dude, I still get nervous when I talk to a chick that I like. Jesus, it's gonna happen. You
it's gonna happen.
just gotta do it. You get used to it.
All right, next question. Hey, so my situation is kind of weird and long, but here it is. So about a year ago, I moved to a new school, and around this time last year, my buddy told me about a party that he was going to, and wanted me to go. And I had a crush on the girl that was having, but being new to the school, I really only briefly talked to her. Multiple sentences, man, multiple sentences. So I said, whatever, I'm going to go to do this. So I just happened to, I just so happened to plans that day. So by the time I got there, the party had already been going for 2 hours. The worst part about it was, I guess it was a surprise birthday party for a friend. So I walked up awkwardly, and she came to the door, and I just said I was friends with my buddy, and she was cool about it. When I got to the basement, though, where everyone was, they thought I was the friend, so it was super awkward. The good thing was I had an amazing time despite the beginning. So now I'm wondering how I should approach this. I'm not even sure if she remembers me. I've had a class with her and only talked to her maybe twice, just about something stupid. Anything would really help. Sorry for the long backstory. Did you follow that well?
I have no idea what was going on. Can you give me like a can you give me like a
I was really
TLDR?
hoping you could summarize that for me.
Okay,
About
it
a year
sounds
ago,
like
I moved to a
okay.
new
Go ahead.
school, and around this time, my buddy was going to a party, and he invited me, and I had a crush on the girl that was
Okay, so this chick
having
was
the
throwing a
party.
party. Yeah, probably this
Okay,
chick was throwing a
so
party. His
okay.
friend was like,
Oh,
"Hey,
oh,
you want to go to this
oh,
party?"
the girl's throwing a party. It's a surprise birthday party for another guy. He
All right.
shows up. The girl that he's interested in answers the door, and he's awkward about it. He goes downstairs to the basement. Everyone thinks that the writer, the guy who's writing in, is the person who the surprise birthday is for, and they're like, "Surprise!" And he's like, "Sorry, it's not for me." And then they're like, "Oh, whoops, ha ha ha." I think
Is that the problem?
I don't know.
Is there a
Anyway, he
question
likes this
there?
girl.
Okay.
I don't understand anything about this party whatsoever. Pay more attention in English class. This is why, like, when your English teacher's like, "Hey, you need to learn how to communicate with people." This is exactly why. So when you write in for, love advice, the people you're writing to have some idea of what you're talking
Can
about.
you like copy and paste it into like Skype or something? I
Oh
mean, I'm not
yeah,
going to
go
spend
ahead.
too long on it, but I just want to try to parse this.
Enjoy that. Maybe I'm just too sick and I can't process
All right.
things.
So the situation is kind of weird and long, but here it is. So about a year ago, I moved to a new school, and around this time last year, okay, so this was a year ago. Around this time last year, my buddy told me about a party. So this was a year ago. Okay, so he wanted to go. So I said, whatever, I'm gonna do this. I just so happened to to have plans that day. So by the time I got there, the party had already been going on for 2 hours. Okay, dude shows up late to the party. Um, he walked up awkwardly to the door. The chick didn't know who he was, so he was like, "Yo, I know my friend's here," and he told me about the party. He told me to come, and she was like, "All right." Um, but everyone that was at the party thought that he was his own friend, the guy that was supposed to be there. They
Okay.
thought that I was the friend, so it was just super awkward. All right, so they thought that he was some other guy, but he had a really great time anyway. Okay. Okay, bottom line, all the party shit is completely irrelevant. He's got a crush on this girl. They've talked a couple of times. I think that's about it. I think he's just nervous about this whole like awkward situation that happened. Don't worry about it. It's over. You had fun. People know who you are. It's
Yeah, this shit
good.
was a
You
year
got
ago,
class
dude.
with this chick. It's whatever. It's totally whatever. Fucking go for it.
Everything that happened here has no impact on you today.
Exactly.
Like, so if you had
Literally
been at
zero.
that party and had like confused a girl for someone else, and you're like, "Oh, whoops," but that was like a year ago, you'd be like, "Oh, whatever. Who gives a shit about that?" Right? Like, if you were them, or if that had happened, if so that had happened to someone else, and you had been one of the people
Okay.
at the party, you wouldn't have given a shit,
She
and
hasn't.
it would be over.
He's worried that she doesn't remember him. Okay, that's the problem. I'm,
Oh,
I'm not even sure she remembers me, but I'd like to talk to her because I was kind of into her.
well, just you have a class with her, dude. She knows
He
who
had
you
a
are
class
on
with
some
her. He
level.
doesn't have a class with her anymore, I don't think.
I have had a class with her. Well, so you've had a class with her. She probably remembers you in some small way. If you like her, walk up to her and talk to her.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah.
I think that's legit. Or if you want to go like the standard like crazy stupid movie plot, you could like throw a party on your own or have your friend throw a party and like if they're still friends, you could just be like, "Yo, invite her to this party. We're gonna throw a little party and then we're gonna be at the same thing." And now you have a means to actually talk to her if
Now you
you
have an episode of How I Met Your Mother.
and now you have an episode of How I Met Your Mother. And who doesn't want an episode of How I Met Your Mother?
Don't worry about it. Talk to the girl. You'll be fine. And if English is not your second language, then ignore my comments about paying attention to English class. If English is your first language, really focus on your English class. It's going to help you a
Holy
lot
shit,
in
man.
life. Learn how to use
That
commas.
was deep. That
But if English is not your first language, then don't worry about it. Fine, you're fine, dude. It's cool. All right.
I'm out of breath from that one. Jesus.
Dear Neil and guest, I recently joined the military and will be leaving to the other side of the country for training sometime in the next 6 months. Should I continue going out, meeting new people, and dating, or is it just a waste of time since I won't be able to keep it up for longer than a few months? Dude, meet new people. That is a great experience to have in life. You are not wasting your time meeting people. You may not maybe these new people you meet in the next 6 months you'll never talk to again, but the experiences that you create with them will be good, and the practice of meeting new people will help you in the future. Always meet new people. That's a great, wonderful thing to do in life.
Yeah, there's no way that's not going to be at least fun.
Yeah.
So, fucking go for it. And if you start to see things getting a little bit like more romantic and involved with someone that you want to get involved with, and they want to get involved with you, just be straight up front. Like, hey, I'm leaving for boot camp in like a couple months, and now I'm going to be gone for a while. And at that point, you guys can decide together if it's something that you want to pursue.
Yeah. Next question.
But there's no guarantee that's even going to happen. All right,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Next question. I fap every day that I can, and I have been doing this since I was about 13. I am now 18. Is it safe, or am I hurting my body? This is not a joke. I'm being 100% serious, and I need help. I'm embarrassed to ask it. Any of my family. Dude, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Like,
if your dick starts hurting, take a break.
yeah. Yeah, when you're causing damage to yourself, like physical damage where it's bleeding or pain.
You'll feel it. You'll feel it.
Yeah, then you stop.
Guarantee.
But seriously, like, the average teenager, the average male in junior high and high school, just from like talking to other people about this, hits it like 2 to 3 times a day. I'm not lying. To those of you out there who may not understand, literally junior high, high school, guys are, once in the morning, twice in the morning, once or twice at night. Yeah, like all the time, seriously. And if you keep that up, it's fine. Don't even sweat it, dude. As long as you're not watching porn 3 times a day.
Reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Just, make sure that you expand your mental palette. You're good, dude. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, and don't come anywhere that would be problematic for anybody.
Wash it. It's fine. Shit comes out easily.
Just feels like roommate's pillow in the dorm room, just like, shit, what am I going to do about this?
Hey, you can just rub the dog on it to get the stains out. Don't use your dog to clean up, please. Please don't do that.
Also, go out and meet people. See if there's a chick who will want to do it for you. That'd be good too.
Or dude.
Or dude, whatever you're into.
Or chick and a dude. Or
any
3 chicks and 5 dudes.
It's fucking
whatever.
Whatever
You're
makes
18
you
now.
happy.
Have fun. Yeah, you're totally legit, dude. Also, don't be embarrassed to ask your doctor about this shit. Like, they have these answers for you. Anyway, next question. Coming up on the last question. Hey, Neil. So my fiance recently had a miscarriage, and things have been pretty rocky. Of course. The typing gets really weird here. Rocky, of course, or OFC. I think it means of course. We've not had sex or been intimate for about 2 months now. What's the best way to reassure her that it's fine and not her fault? Unctious, how do you reassure that your fiance who just had a miscarriage, how do you reassure her? And
that is a position that I've never been in.
Getting intimate
and
again.
That is a psychological problem that I have no idea how to even begin tackling. I think the best thing that you can do is to be there for her and to offer her comfort when she needs it, and to let her know that she's not alone in the situation, and basically be able to treat her like a normal person and let her be able to treat herself like a normal person. Like, that is such a serious issue that I don't think I've ever... The closest thing I've ever gotten to, I think, that sort of a situation where there was some sort of psychological problem was One of my first girlfriends, uh, she found out from a letter once that like some medical paperwork that she had been sexually abused as a child, and she didn't remember any of it, but she had like read it all, and that was like traumatic to her. Just the process of like realizing that the reason that she had been adopted and the reason that she had been taken away from her original mother was because she was sexually abused. So that was like the closest thing that I can come. And the only thing that I was able to do for her was to let her realize that, you know, as a boyfriend and more importantly as a friend and somebody who cares about her, I'm willing to be part of the journey that it takes to let herself or to let her realize that it's okay. There's nothing to be ashamed about. We're in this together, and we're going to stay in this together.
I mean, you got her to say that she'll marry you. You know this girl, hopefully, better than anyone else. You know how best to care for her. I would recommend reading some literature on the subject. Maybe try and get her to read some literature on the subject as well. That really helps. Um, I have a friend who, took a standard STD test. It came back positive for some things, um, and he was really freaking out. But then he like picked up a book on the, STD that he had gotten, and he like was fine. He was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And I don't know. I'm clearly leaving my friend's name out of this, but he was totally cool about it afterwards.
If a time comes where she says, I need to talk to somebody about this, like I need to get counseling or something, be willing to be like, hey, I will be there with you if you need it, if you would like me to be, and support that. So let her try to do the healthy thing and support her in trying to do the healthy thing. I
Yeah.
think that's the best thing that you could do in that situation. I like the idea of reading up on it because I have no idea what goes through a person who has had through the mind of a person who has had to go through a miscarriage. I have no idea where to begin with that, other than just being as supportive as possible. That's a great fucking question, dude. That
Yeah.
is a hard question, and that's real as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, that must be wildly traumatic. To being like, you're having a kid together, you're engaged, and then that, I mean, that's gotta suck really, really badly, but
You got this,
it's
man.
natural, man. You can do this.
Yeah, you
You
got it, man.
you got her to agree to marry you and to agree to have a kid with you. Like whatever you've been doing so far has been working. And if you guys haven't had sex or been intimate for 2 months now and it's getting rocky, just remind yourself every day. You know what? She's in your life for the rest of your life. She's the most important thing in your life. She's more important than any job
Yeah,
or anybody else that walks around, including your family members, right? Like, she is the alpha and omega of your life, and you will be there for her no matter what happens. And just keep reminding yourself of that, and you'll do well.
yeah. I think you're
Be
gonna be
patient.
fine. Man.
You guys have like 60 years together, 70 years together, 80 years together. You have a lifetime together. You can go 2 months, 4 months, 6 months without sex, a year without sex, 2 years without sex, whatever it takes.
Yeah,
And if it gets bad, as Unctious said, maybe see a doctor. Um, but definitely, read up on it. But you got this. You can do it.
good
And
fucking question.
that is well, no, that is our final question for today, for Love Bites.